computer science students at Stellenbosch University claim to have uncovered a big web of fraud in the administration of SASSA's social relief of distress grant during their investigation into vulnerabilities in government-run systems. The students say they discovered an alarming number of unexplained applications and payments, even finding that their own ID numbers had been used. Well, Joel, Cedras and Veer Gosai from Stellenbosch University join us now to chat. Guys, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I did ask during the break if I could let the nation know your ages, and both these guys are 19 years old, able to find security breaches that are far-reaching in the SASSA grant system. I'm going to let you go first, Joel. What is it exactly that you guys were looking into? So what prompted this work into SASSA's online portal?
Good morning, Naledi, and good morning to your viewers. So this started with me, and I tried to apply in February, and I found that I'd already had an application open. And then about 2-3 weeks ago, I was speaking to Veer about this, and we then discovered that he also has an application open. And then we kind of took it from there and sort of dug in a bit and found quite a lot of things.
Yeah, and quite a lot of things, meaning, so you guys had never applied for the 370 Rand grant, but when you tried, you found that your applications were already there. Veer, give me what the next step was, because I believe that then you spoke to quite a few other students at Stellenbosch University.
So what was very interesting was our SASSA grants weren't on our phone numbers. They were registered to completely fraudsters' phone numbers, and we didn't know what they were. So to see if this was a widespread problem, we did a on-survey campus where we asked about 60 people, and we managed to test their ID numbers. And what we found out was over 56 of them had active SASSA applications that they had no knowledge of. And this was an alarmingly high rate, which led us to do further testing.
Wait, so you spoke to 60 people at your campus, and 56 of them had applications on SASSA's portal that they knew nothing about. I mean, that's alarming. Then you obviously Then you went further and you said, okay, well then, let's look at who else is on here, people that perhaps aren't near you. And you looked at, you did quite a bit. Okay, let's do this. You found that there were grant applications for those born February 2005. Talk to me about that, because there's something was particularly interesting about what you found about births in February 2005. Talk to me about that. Joel, you go.
Yes, so in February of 2005, people born in that month, we discovered that there were 74,000 active applications, okay? But when we compared this with Stats SA data, we found that there are only 82,000 people born in that month. So there's a 91% application rate for people born in February 2005. And then this doesn't correlate at all. And I mean, you can look at things like the youth unemployment, that's at 60.8%. So there's at least a 30% gap there that is completely unaccounted for, because those people, if they have jobs, they wouldn't even be applying for the grant. But according to the data that we gathered, they have.
Yeah, and we're going to look at more of the data, but Veer, I want to just give me what you take from it, right? When we'll go back to the data because it's so important. But Veer, what do you take? Is this a security breach? Is it? Did you see fraud when you looked at some of this data?
The first thing is, we've been branded as, hackers and that, but the truth is this specific matter was not like a matter of hacking. When we discovered this, we researched the SASSA systems and found out that when we would test ID numbers, it would just return whether that ID number had a SASSA application active. And this was completely public based off of the old SASSA system that they have began to patch. But this then led us to believe, if we can do this publicly, and we were able to test 700 ID numbers a minute, which was too high of a rate for us to like, right? We think when you have no rates on a single device, no IP address limits, then what actually happens is that fraudsters are just able to create maybe 100 applications in one day. And this was a very concerning issue that obviously we want to take to SASSA and we want to work with them in this matter.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, SASSA says they want you to come and talk to them about it. In fact, last night, my colleague Thabo Mdluli had a discussion with Paseka Letsatsi, who's the spokesperson of SASSA, and when asked about some of the research that you guys have done, this is what he had to say. Listen to this.
To appeal as well to the students who discovered this, that they would have reached to us so that we can then be able to explain. But secondly, our cyber department has picked it up, and I think they've beefed up certain things. We are left with no option, Thabo, but to go out to the public and explain that they have to bear with us. We need to make sure that when people want to do certain changes, we definitely don't have a choice but to make sure that we do the facial recognition of individuals.
I mean, were you guys able to hear that, Joel? Did that sound like an admission and corroborating your data?
To be honest with you, they came out with a media statement where they essentially verified what we found. But what really frustrated and irritated me is that they've actually known about this for a long time. In fact, it could be because this has been reported on for over a year now. It's just the first time that we come out with this data. But they've already had this data because it's their database, right? So they know about this. But they're only coming out to the public now. And that is what really irritates me.
Yeah. You've got a Brenton van Vrede, for instance, who heads up grant operations at SASSA, who spoke to a radio station and admitted, quoted on that radio station, and saying, we do unfortunately have a lot of these cases. And I don't know, perhaps you guys might view that as an understatement. But for me, I think what stands out, Veer, is you've got two students who, out of your own volition, were able to, and of course there's going to be the question on whether or not you acquired this information legally, Veer. I think that's important for you to address now. And then there's the question around, well, we've got, state security and all sorts of institutions that should be ensuring that our systems are locked and tight, right? But two 19-year-olds, and this is not to say that, you guys aren't incredibly smart, were able to figure it out. Veer, what do you think that says? And what does it say to your confidence, for instance, for public institutions?
So I just want to assure the public, we are not stealing your data. We are not doing anything illegal. What we were able to do, the testing we were able to do was completely done with SASSA's publicly available systems in place, right? So that means anyone could have accessed them before they patched it. But secondly, that, the public needs to be assured that their data is secure. And right now, in the testing, all we're able to do is just put in an ID number and get a response. We aren't getting your full name or personal details back, so that is good. But the way we do this testing is, so we first generate a list of all possible ID numbers. Last morning, Mr. Brenton did state on air that we were, for some reason, using IDs from third-party sources. This is not true. We have open sourced the code. You can visit it on our website, digifem.com, for our ID generator. And it just generates all ID numbers possible in a sequential order. We feed this into SASSA system using a coded script that we have made. And then we get the response data and we organize it and set it up. That's why we can tell you that we discovered a 91% application rate for people born in 2005 February and the other data that we have found.
Yeah, there's this, and quickly, and I've got about 1 minute for this because we've got two more questions to get through. But Joel, take me through the first 500 male and first 500 male IDs that were born on the 1st of January, 1960 to 2006. That was interesting data that you discovered there, Joel.
Yes, so we ran through 500 male, 500 females from 1960 to 2006. And what we found is that the average over the entire period is 52%. So 52% of people on average made applications. But then when we focus on 2002 to 2006, that rate jumps to 90-odd%. And this is actually quite relevant because those people born from 2002 to 2006 have turned 18 since the system's inception in 2020. So it does seem like the youth are being targeted with it. There's a huge gap between the rest of the data and the youth.
Yeah.
So
a gap between, that's the applications for the social relief and distress grant, the 370 Veer. This is going to be a tough question, but I need to ask it. The revelations that you've made, I don't think anyone can think are a small find, right? Are you guys concerned for your safety? Number one. Number two, will you be speaking to SASSA? Yes, go ahead.
We are slightly concerned about our safety, but we are, dealing with it in the appropriate measures. We, secondly, are going to present to Parliament next week sometime. It was announced on the website. And then finally, we definitely want to work with SASSA. We have these ideas. We think they were slightly miscommunicated to SASSA, and we have a lot to bring. We might be 19-year-old students at Stellenbosch University, but we are knowledge in this industry, and we do have the skills that the government can bring us in and will assist them, because we have this to offer. We want the South Africans in our nation to be assured that their data and the systems the government puts in place are secure.
Yeah. Well, we cannot wait to see you guys present your research to Parliament. And thank you so much for speaking to us. Very eye-opening. Can you imagine 2 19-year-old first-year students going to present security breaches on SASSA's online portal to Parliament? Absolutely beautiful. Joel Cedras there, a Stellenbosch University computer science student, and Veer Gosai, also with Stellenbosch University Computer Sciences. All right, let's, the time round now is just before 7:30. Let's give you a quick reminder of your headlines.